Good evening and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick. We start tonight with the review from the City Council's Finance Subcommittee on the proposals for Community Preservation Act money in the current fiscal year, as the group has approved most, but not all, of the Community Preservation Committee's recommendations. The subcommittee heard details during their meeting Tuesday night at the Memorial Building. The CPC previously recommended 13 projects worth around $3 million in total. That included $210,000 for community housing, roughly $1.3 million for recreation and open space, and close to $1.5 million for historic preservation plans. 12 of the 13 recommended projects were given the green light by the Finance Subcommittee. The one left up in the air, $500,000 for phase one of a project to preserve Athenaeum Hall and its adjacent firehouse. Sarkis Sarkeesian, the city's Director of Planning and Community Development, told the Finance Subcommittee that the money, along with $1 million in PUD money set aside for the Athenaeum around 10 years ago, would be used to get the building's exterior in line with Massachusetts regulations for historic structures.
We're not in compliance. It looks horrible from the street. What can we do to at least get the front of this building, get this up to some type of decent condition so it will look good? Whether we sell it, lease it, that's a whole other process, a long-term process. But in the meantime, at least bring this and have it presentable for the public. That's our first goal.
The subcommittee was split 2-2 on the recommendation. Chair and at-large City Councilor George King was joined by District 4 City Councilor Michael Cannon in voting against it, citing a desire to have a clear, long-term plan for the hall in place before making investments. Novel Alexander of District 5 as well as District 7's Leora Malik voted in favor of the earmark, supporting Sarkeesian's belief that the preservation can be sparked by this first phase.
I think there's a lot of potential in that project there between the fire station and Athenaeum, but it's also a lot of money to make it, to meet that potential. And I just feel like some of the other projects, we're just like taking relatively serious amounts of money and putting it towards something that we don't ever know if we're gonna be able to follow up with.
If you build it, or in this case, make some little renovations, and maybe they will come. I think I'm willing to bet on our community and our and Mr. Sarkeesian and his crew to make a pitch for somebody to come and make that a beautiful building.
The Athenaeum topic will be discussed among the entire City Council following the subcommittee's split vote. Chair of the CPC, Tom Mahoney, hopes their recommendations can go before the City Council on April 30th. Meanwhile, members of the Framingham Planning Board will hear more about the One Howard apartment building proposal during a public hearing at the Memorial Building tonight, Thursday the 18th at 7 p.m. Details were provided on the plan during a planning board meeting last month by members of One Howard LLC, which is a part of the larger City Realty Group based in Boston. The group is looking to build a 6th-floor site with more than 130 units, along with a stacked parking garage at the parking lot next to the Armenian Church of the Holy Translators on Howard Street. Multiple municipal permits, such as for multi-family housing, land disturbance, and parking reductions, have been requested by One Howard. A number of concerns were highlighted by planning board members during last month's meeting on the matter. Notably, the group wants to ensure that proper waterproofing measures are in place, as the plot is adjacent to Farm Pond, while they also want the apartment units to be accessible to as many local residents as possible. One Howard told the planning board that leading up to Thursday's public hearing, they'd conduct more research into the feasibility of stormwater management within the area. As we record this episode of The Frame, of course, we don't yet know what happened in that meeting, but we'll provide the details in next week's episode. Members of the state Senate unanimously approved a total of $375 million in bond authorizations last Thursday for transportation infrastructure improvements across Massachusetts. If the bill is signed, the money would be used for upgrades for local services like bridges, roads, transit systems, and electric vehicle infrastructure. All municipalities in the Commonwealth would be given part of $200 million through the legislation, while $150 million would be split across 6 statewide programs and another $25 million would be earmarked for rural road improvements. In a statement, State Senator for the 2nd Middlesex and Norfolk District and State Senate President Karen Spilka said, quote, "We are empowering our cities and towns with the funding to make improvements to the infrastructure our residents travel on, regardless of where they go and how." The House of Representatives previously passed their own version of the legislation. It will now have to be finalized on Beacon Hill before Governor Maura Healey can give the final approval. More details on the stories you've seen tonight and more matters across the community can be found on the newest source for local information, www.theframe.news. Log on there to read more about what's going on in Framingham, from municipal government developments to other happenings citywide. Subscribe to our newsletter as well to ensure that you never miss what's happening. Also, we'd love to hear from you if you've got a community story idea that you'd like us to cover. You're invited to send an email to the Frame at accessfram.tv, or you can leave a voicemail by calling 508-216-0003. We're going to step aside for just a moment, but when we return, our coverage of the 128th Boston Marathon. The iconic road race once again made its way through Framingham on Monday, and our team was able to hear from both runners and spectators. Don't go anywhere. The Frame will be right back.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Welcome back in, as it's now time for our weekly focus and our coverage of the 128th Boston Marathon. Thousands of runners were in Massachusetts on Marathon Monday as countless supporters lined the race's course from start to finish. Local residents, of course, know Patriots Day as a state holiday and a chance to witness one of the world's biggest sporting events from their own backyard. But for others, the Boston Marathon is an excursion and a chance to cheer on their loved ones. We spoke to some visitors along the marathon route in Framingham to learn more. I'm going to take a wild guess here and say you guys are from Texas, right? Whereabouts in Texas?
Austin.
From Memphis, Tennessee.
From Milwaukee.
Toronto, Canada.
We don't get warm weather in Seattle, so it's nice to be in the sun.
Who are you here supporting, ma'am?
My dad.
Your dad? How many marathons has your dad run? Do you know?
Here in Boston, this is his second in Boston, and he ran one virtual down in Seattle.
My baby's running. Her name is Kate Runnin, and she's a nursing student at Minnesota, and she'll be finishing in May. It's exciting. I'm worried about the distance. I want her to be good to her body, but beyond that, we'll just see how she's looking when she passes by. Boston has done such a great job of preserving our history. We loved it, the Freedom Trail. Boston's just a terrific city to visit, and I loved it.
Words can't explain it. I mean, it's incredible. The atmosphere, the people, this race, what everybody's running for. It's just an unbelievable experience. I think everybody should come out here and check it out at least once. My wife, Brittany, incredible runner. It's her second year to do it. Wouldn't miss it. Just an incredible race. Awesome time. These are our two kids, and yeah, they couldn't be here this year, so I thought we'd bring them in this way, and a good way to pick us out in the crowd too.
My daughter, Madeline Cummings, is running it, and she's come all the way from Edmonton, Alberta. She's always been a fantastic runner. She's trying to beat her personal best of 3:09. This race line is lined with people. Everyone's just cheering. I think lots of people just come out to cheer everyone, not just one person in particular. So it's crazy to be a part of such an amazing event.
We're here to support my sister, Taylor, my daughter,
my wife. The city's on fire. We love it. It's always fun to come to Boston, but today is a special day.
The energy of the city is just so incredible. We've been here for a few days, and every day has just been something new, and everyone's so excited to be here, and we're happy to be a part of this historic day.
So glad it's not raining.
If you could give your wife a message right now or any other runner, what would you say to him?
Good luck, stay hydrated, and have fun.
We love you and we're proud of you.
Keep going. It's a hot day, but put your gels in your body, drink lots of water, and finish. Just keep going.
Keep attacking. Keep attacking.
Keep running no matter what. Do your best, and I love you no matter what.
One last question. What's the name of the dog? I have to ask.
This is Archie.
Archie. Aw, look at Archie.
He's here to cheer on Mama.
As we just saw there, the Boston Marathon brings runners to the local area from all 50 states, as well as over 100 countries around the world. In fact, this year's men's champion, Sise Lema, is Ethiopian, while the women's winner, Helen Obiri, is from Kenya. But for other participants, the marathon route runs right through their own backyards. The Frame's Mackenzie Wright spent some time with a number of 2024 marathon runners who live right here in Framingham, and she joins us now to share more. Mackenzie?
Yeah, Brendan, I caught up with 3 Boston Marathon runners who are all proud to call Framingham home. Some of them grew up watching this historic race pass right through our community on Route 135, while others live literally steps away from the 26.2-mile trek. They all agree that completing the Boston Marathon is truly an experience of a lifetime. It's regarded as one of the most prestigious marathons in the world, and not only the oldest annual marathon, but one of the largest. Nearly 30,000 runners. Some crossed the globe to get here, but for others, this is home.
My entire life, I watched the Boston Marathon and was always in awe of people who could run the Boston Marathon.
People recognize you, and just the roar that you get from there is very, very special.
Just kind of being in like the hometown arena. You know, this is where I live. This is all the community that I've kind of gotten to know over the last several years. So it's really nice to kind of have that anchoring for the marathon as well.
The Boston Marathon this year marked the 128th edition of the historic race. There's an extra something in the air, a contagious sense of spirit and community. Yellow is everywhere, as hundreds of thousands gathered beneath blue skies to support these runners. Every step of the way, from the starting line in Hopkinton to the finish line near Copley Square, crowds made it their mission to cheer loud and proud for each and every one of these runners. Here in Framingham, La Cantina marks 5.5 miles into the race, and for Lisa Burgess, Framingham resident and 6-time Boston Marathon runner, it's one of her favorite parts of the route.
Framingham is incredible because you know everybody and everybody's cheering for you.
Lisa now has 10 marathons under her belt. She ran the Chicago Marathon in 2017, and from there she was hooked. Running has always been important to her. It's been a source of bonding between herself and her children. She recalled running 5Ks with her kids when they were just little. But pounding the pavement is also an outlet for Lisa.
Physically, like being able for my own personal self to deal with the challenges in my life, to go out for a run changes my whole perspective on things.
Lisa's husband passed away in 2016. It hit her and her family hard.
It's been all about the community and really my mental health through being a sole parent and raising my kids and getting them through college and their grief process.
Even more meaningful to Lisa than the running itself is the fundraising and charity work that goes into these events. In previous Boston Marathons, Lisa has run to raise money for organizations like Call to Talk and Jeff's Place, both of which provide mental health and grief support to the community.
It gives you extra motivation because you know you're doing it for a greater purpose. It's not just to complete the marathon, but it's for what you're doing for these organizations who are so grateful for what you're doing.
This year, Lisa ran to support the Greater Framingham Running Club, but 26.2 miles later, she's not done yet. Lisa is already on her way to London to run their marathon on April 21st to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
I've always run with a charity bib. And so those people are just, we're not the fastest runners. We're not going to win the race, but, it's really a sense of community and people pick each other up and give each other encouragement. To run Boston, there's nothing in the world like it. There are people who work their whole lives to qualify. We are so fortunate to have so many opportunities to get to run Boston because we live here.
Those opportunities Lisa is referring to is something Vernon Turner knows a lot about. This Boston Marathon was Vernon's 10th marathon overall and his 4th in Boston. Vernon has been very involved in both the Greater Framingham Running Club as well as Team Framingham, which was established more than a decade ago. Both groups have a strong relationship with the BAA, the Boston Athletic Association.
The Greater Framingham Running Club gets some numbers from the BAA because we volunteer. We have people minding the clocks, helping with hydration. So because the course runs through Framingham, the BAA gives the running club a few numbers. Then there's the BAA giving the city its 22 or 23 numbers to raise for charities. And that's where I first got my first taste of running marathons.
Vernon ran the first year Team Framingham was established, and he considers himself lucky that his name was selected out of a random lottery drawing.
I remember well thinking, I never win any lotteries. I'm hopeless at scratch tickets. I'll throw my name into this. And my wife always reminds me, be careful what you ask for. And sure enough, my name got pulled.
Vernon has a lot of pride in Team Framingham's fundraising abilities. He told me this is the first year the group has surpassed raising $1 million for various charities.
Around about mile 18 and 19 of any race, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this? And then you realize you got an opportunity to do something that's not easy, that's unique, and you've got a lot of people who are supporting you to have the opportunity to run in a global marathon, one of the 6 top marathons in the world. Just blows your mind.
Of course, formally qualifying to run the Boston Marathon is a different matter, and it's no easy task. It's one of the most competitive races in the world, with extremely challenging qualifying times. Framingham's own Nicole Terry knows that better than just about anyone.
When I ran my first marathon, I thought it'd be super cool to be able to qualify for Boston. I didn't know if I could actually do it, and then when I did, I was so excited. I was like, this is, the marathon to run.
In and amongst the miles upon miles of spectators, Nicole had a special little fan out there cheering her on, her 9-month-old son, Isaac.
I actually ran my qualifying marathon in 2022. I found out I was pregnant in 2023, but I was already signed up for Boston. I was already assuming I was going to run it, and I was going to be 6 months pregnant for the 2023 marathon. I was trying to figure out, can I make it in the 6-hour cutoff time? Am I going to be able to do it? And the BAA finally announced their pregnancy deferral, so I took that, and now I'm running this year instead.
Nicole admitted it's been tough training with a newborn baby at home. She told me she's grateful to her husband for his help and support.
When you marathon train, you assume you're getting 8 hours of sleep at night. You assume you're not getting sick every other week, but with a baby in daycare especially, you're getting sick all the time, you're not sleeping, so training is a lot more difficult. You have to be a lot more cognizant of your diet and your physical health and your mental health. I think my husband's just been amazing about me just saying I'm gonna peace out for 3 hours on Sunday to run, you handle the baby. He's been so supportive, and I've been really lucky with that too.
Even as these runners got further and further from Framingham, they knew there would be no shortage of love and support waiting for them.
I've been getting very emotional even thinking about it. I think that's just so special to have the community just being able to cheer and so excited for people that they don't even know, right? I can't even imagine standing outside and screaming for people I don't know for that many hours, and the fact that they do it every year is amazing.
I can't even explain what that feels like. It's just one of the pinnacle moments, in my life.
Being in Boston, you know that people are supporting you. Even if you're 2 hours and going to win the thing, or 6 hours, doesn't matter. People are with you. So it's a combination of the challenge, the uniqueness, and the people. I think it's just a great community.
Nicole, Lisa, and Vernon all agree that is what makes the Boston Marathon like no other. Runners I spoke to said the race was incredibly tough, but that the crowds were amazing. They also noted that part of what makes the Boston Marathon uniquely challenging is the grueling inclines and elevation changes. Lisa specifically said that that's what makes overcoming Newton's Heartbreak Hill, the final uphill battle around the 21-mile trek, so exhilarating. A big congratulations to all of the runners. Brendan?
And thank you for that, Mackenzie. Now, it's worth noting that runners with Team Framingham encourage anyone who may be interested in participating in future Boston Marathons to throw their hat in the ring. Whether you're an avid runner or not, Team Framingham has a training program complete with everything from mentorship to dietary education designed to get runners prepared for the 26.2-mile trek from Hopkinton to Boylston Street. Of course, your name must first be drawn from the random lottery, which takes place each fall. For more information about Team Framingham, you can visit their page on the city's official website, www.framinghamma.gov. It was a beautiful day for the marathon on Patriots Day, and maybe we get some more of that as we move into the second half of April, but that's not so much the case to begin the weekend. Mostly cloudy skies in the forecast for Friday, with highs in the upper 50s and lows in the mid-40s. There's also a chance of showers Friday night. Partly sunny on Saturday, breezy with highs in the mid-60s and lows around 40 degrees. On Sunday, mostly sunshine to wrap up the weekend. Breezy once more with highs in the upper 50s and lows dropping into the upper 30s Sunday evening. Coming up next on The Frame, a heads up on local roadwork, leaf collections, and hydrant flushing, as well as a preview of Saturday's Earth Day Festival here in the city. That's all just ahead, but first, a reminder to you that The Frame is an initiative of Access Framingham, your local nonprofit media center. The AFTV team has been working to provide replays of the recent TBA youth basketball title games, and those matchups will be airing on Access Framingham this weekend. Those games will start airing at 9 a.m. on Saturday the 20th and 12:30 p.m. on Sunday the 21st. Check Access Framingham's Facebook page for the full schedule. Until then, let's take a look at some TBA highlights from the playoffs.
Trying to find a fast break point. Calvin shoots for three, and it's good.
Hubbard pass down court. Golden Black saves it somehow. Oh, it saves it again. Saves and gets himself a layup. What a play by Golden Black. They're thinking of taking it the other way, though. An electric play. Play from Suncarn there. He knocks them both down. We are going to overtime. I know you want more. For him, it's all about improving his basketball skills. That's really important. Look at the basketball skills from Miles Goldenblatt. And it may be Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, but the bank is open.
Welcome back in. Let's check in on what else is happening across our community as city officials have advised residents about a pair of projects being done in the coming days here in Framingham by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. Crews will be out along a part of Union Ave beginning Monday, April 22nd, and drivers should expect delays in the area. Also, we mentioned it last week, but a reminder to you that MassDOT will begin work to install a traffic signal at Edgell Road and Central Street starting Monday as part of a roughly $2.5 million project. A pair of notes from the Department of Public Works now. First, another round of leaf collections will also start on Monday. Crews will be around the city during regular designated trash days through Friday for collections. Residents are advised to separate leaves, grass clippings, plant waste, and light trimmings from brush and larger trimmings. Plastic bags will not be accepted for the leaf collections. Also beginning Monday, some parts of the city will have hydrant flushing carried out. The white zones you see on your screen will have that flushing conducted. It might be tough to tell based on that map, but we can tell you that it's showing the southwesternmost corner of the city. So that includes Parker Road, Gate Street, most of Salem End Road, parts of Winter Street down to Waverly, as well as the 9 and 90 area. Water discoloration may occur and pressure might drop while flushing is being done, though the discolored water is not harmful and will only be temporary. It can stain clothing, however, so be mindful of that. Anyone with any questions related to flushing should reach out to the city's water division. The Framingham Earth Day Festival is just a few days away. residents are invited to the Center Common on Saturday the 20th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the 12th iteration of the event. Live music, activities for all ages, and resources to keep the community green and eco-friendly will all be present. On-site recycling at the festival will be able to accept items like plastic bags, glasses, printer cartridges, rechargeable batteries, and coffee pods, while a drive-through service at First Parish Church will be accepting TVs, cell phones, computers, household appliances, and more. Additional information on what will be accepted at the Earth Day Festival can be found at framinghamearthday.org. Attendees are encouraged to bring their own lunch or to support a local restaurant. We invite you to share your Earth Day experiences with us. Just reach out to us on social media. You can tag us on Instagram and X at @FrameNews_. Follow us there for daily updates and tag us when you're out in the community. You can also subscribe to the Access Framingham YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new Frame episodes go up every week. Check us out on Facebook just by searching for The Frame. Now, of course, Earth Day itself is on Monday this year, and according to earthday.org, it's recognized as the planet's largest civic event each year. Earth Day celebrates environmental activism and education, as well as efforts to take better care of our planet. That'll be it for this week's Framingham News in Focus. On behalf of everyone here at The Frame, thank you for spending your evening with us. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.